All right, Jack, you're watching ACC Network Football from Heinz Field on a perfect Saturday morning in Pittsburgh, PA. It's week 2 of the college football season and a second chance to make a good impression early in 2019 for the 0-1 Pitt Panthers. They face Ohio out of the MAC. I'm Clay Matvick alongside former Pitt quarterback John Congemi. Dr. Jerry Punch will be on the sidelines today on this excellent day for college football here in the Steel City. Upper 60s clouds, but no real threat of rain. Ohio won easily last week over Rhode Island, led by quarterback Nathan Rourke. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett and Pitt, well, they made a lot of mistakes, John, in a loss to Virginia.
Well, when you look at these two quarterbacks, Clay, very similar characteristics. Rourke for Ohio, Pickett for Pitt, both natural leaders, both have mental and physical toughness. But what separates them, I think Rourke has to create more offense for Ohio for them to have success. And for Pickett, I think he has to do more distributing of the football, get it out to his playmakers like French, who's going to potentially take this kick return. Guys like that need to be more involved for the Pitt offense.
French is back to return the opening kick from Michael Farkas as Ohio won the toss, elected to defer, and we're underway here at Heinz Field. Early 11 a.m. kick, the first of 4 games here on the ACC Network leading up to Miami and North Carolina in prime time tonight. And there you see Mr. Pickett, 6'2", 225-pound junior out of New Jersey. Second full season as the starter, but he's being asked to do a whole lot more in Mark Whipple's offense this year.
Well, he loses 2 1,000-yard running backs from last season, so he is going to be asked to do a little bit more. I like his makeup. I like his mental toughness. I like his demeanor, but he has to make those 10 guys around him play to his level today.
And he's going to start from under center. And we've got our first penalty flag right out of the chute. Not a good start for Pitt.
False start. Offense. Number 77. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jerry Mangalanis is our referee today. That's Carter Warren, the left tackle who started early.
Well, not what you want from the Panthers in their first snap. Before the snap, they get a procedure penalty, and now it's 1st and 15. Remember last week against a very good Virginia team, that a lot of hidden yards were lost to this Panthers due to the offense.
A.J. Davis will line up in the backfield to the left of Pickett, who backs up in the gun. On 1st and long, in trouble, and he's going to be hit and swarmed under. Eric Pop, the weak side linebacker for the Bobcats, gets in for a loss of 4.
Ohio last week against Rhode Island, they brought their linebackers and they were able to pressure the pocket. They do a good job of not rushing past Kenny Pickett. Everybody stayed in their lanes and made it difficult for Pickett to move it in through the offensive line to create a big play in the scramble.
Well, the big question was, could Pitt find rhythm early? Now facing potential 3 and out. Maurice French makes the catch. He's going to get a handful of those yards back before Jared Hampton, the terrific strong safety, wraps him up.
Well, Clay, this is, if you're Kenny Pickett right now, you want to protect the football. Yes, you want to get this conversion here on 3rd down, but you don't want to give up bad field position in a sudden change to the Ohio offense here.
Here we go, 3rd down and 12. Pickett again in trouble. Gets away, got it out short, and stopped at the 30-yard line as the running back A.J. Davis well short of the first down yardage needed. That's another 3 and out, and that was a real problem last week for Pitt. They had 5 of those, including 3 in the first quarter.
And it was a problem for Ohio on defense. That's their first 3 and out in 18 series going back to last year, so positive signs for the Bobcats on defense.
Number 8, Jerome Buckner, redshirt freshman out of Columbus, Ohio, going back to return this punt for Kirk Christodoulou, the Aussie who punted 5 times last week for the Panthers. He had 1 blocked. This one gets away cleanly. It's going to be Isaiah Cox who actually fields the kick, and he won't get to the 20. That's a 52-yard punt for Christodoulou. And some breaking news here leading up to this game. For more on that, let's go down to Dr. Punch.
Hey guys, yesterday Ohio quarterback Nathan Rourke showed up at the walkthrough with a very sore throat and a high fever. Sent to the training room, the presumptive diagnosis was strep throat. They rode him in a separate car here last night, put him on antibiotics, IV fluids. Head coach Frank Solis told me his fever broke about midnight. He will play today, but the question is for how long and how effective will he be in terms of not feeling well.
All right, Doc, thanks. Dual threat guy, third-year starter. And obviously for their best chance today, they need Rourke to play well. And he's going to take a shot deep right sideline. Has a man down there. Underthrown a bit and some contact in the secondary. He was looking for Jerome Buckner. And he got tangled up with Damari Mathis.
Well, it looked like Mathis had a jersey full, and it goes both ways. I think on the back end,
Pass
Buckner.
interference. Defense, number 21. Automatic first down.
Boy, that's a tough one to call. It was going both ways, back and forth. They get the defender, the corner, and Mathis, but that was a nice shot on first down for Ohio to come out. You have a quarterback not feeling great. Let's try to get an explosive play and cut this field in half. If not, try to get in the end zone on the first play.
Pitt was called for 3 pass interference penalties last week. And on the first play from scrimmage, they've been flagged once already. So now first down and 10 from the 34 on Ohio's first series of the day. Rourke on the draw gives to O'Shawn Allison. And Allison's not going to get much. In fact, a loss of a yard. So Rourke, some great numbers over his career. You can see last season over 2,400 passing yards, 860 on the ground, 38 total touchdowns, just 8 interceptions.
Yeah, second team All-MAC for his career, 42 touchdowns through the air, 37 on the ground, and every time he runs the football, he's averaging 6 yards. So that's going to be a big key for Ohio staying on the field today, how effective he is in the zone read run game.
Rourke on second and 12. Gives it to Allison again. Straight up the middle. He'll get 5 or 6. He'll bring up third down and medium.
You know, Clay, I really like the offensive coordinator, the thought for Ohio and Tim Albin. You know, he told us during the week they need to challenge the Pitt defenders on the outside. They need to win those 50-50 battles. And if they get pass interference, that's great because it's going to keep this offense and the momentum on the field. More chances to convert on third down, and they're almost 50% on the season.
They were 73% last week against Rhode Island in that win in the season opener at home. 2 receivers to either side for Rourke. He's going to jet out, toss it over to Allison. And he'll cut it up on the near sideline, but well short of the first down yardage necessary. He needed to get to the 45. Jazzy Stocker brought him down, the senior out of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. And Ohio's going to be forced to punt on its opening series.
Well, that's a good response by the Pitt defense after the offense goes 3 and out. You got to really worry about Rourke penetrating and using that speed on the edge of the Pitt defense. They did a good job of setting that edge to the short side.
Maurice French standing back at the Pitt 10-yard line. Michael Farkas, the senior punter. First team All-MAC last year. Didn't punt once last week. Called on early here today. French hit as he made the catch inside the 15-yard line, and he slammed down at the 12. A kick of 45 yards, no return. Each team with a series, nothing to show for it. Just getting started here at Heinz Field on this terrific college football Saturday in the Steel City. Respect each other a lot. Frank Solich, he'll turn 75 tomorrow. Pat Narduzzi, he's 53 years old. A little frustrated after last week's loss for Pitt. And he said we are going to see improvement this week, Jim.
I think so. Anytime you have interceptions, blocked punt, missed assignments, drop passes, you get to watch that on film. And that's the greatest coaching reel you can find, is to show those mistakes in week 1 and see if you can have that jump in week 2. And I think that's what Pat Narduzzi, especially on the Pitt sidelines, looking for after you have a positive run now on the second series by A.J. Davis.
10 first-time starters last week for Pitt. 29 guys played career highs in plays last week. As Davis gets it again, he's going to pick his way just short of the 20. And that's not making excuses, but Pat Narduzzi did point to that. Hey, we got a lot of guys that are trying to figure this out yet.
Well, it's not only everybody looks at the quarterback, but it's the offensive line, it's the drop passes, it's the turnovers, it's the block punts. It's those things that you want to correct in week 2 right away.
Pickett, and that's a drop pass, and we saw quite a few drops last week for Pitt. Flag comes in, so this may bail Pittsburgh out. We'll see what the call is.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, 15-yard penalty, First down.
And that is a break for the Panthers, as they were facing yet another 3-and-out.
And there you have a big key play early in this game on third down. It looked like it might have been a hold by the Panthers offensively, but you get that hand to the face with Cole Baker, and that's going to keep the Panthers' second drive alive this morning. Those are the mistakes. I know Frank Solich has been in this game for so long and been so consistent, but you can't have that early in the game because you feel Ohio has some momentum early on defense.
First down from the 35. Pickett, clean pocket, pumps. Now drops it into the arms of a receiver at the 45-yard line. That's a 9-yard catch for Maurice French, the senior captain who had 6 catches last week.
Positive yards on first down will be Pitt's friend today. They didn't have that happen last week against Virginia.
And Pickett last week started 1 of 7 through the air, as he hands off to Davis, and that's going to be enough for a first down. The running game last week for Pittsburgh mustered only 78 yards, lowest total since November 18th, 2017 at Virginia Tech. They averaged 228 yards per game last year. A real sea change in this offense for Pitt. To the outside, that is caught by Aaron Matthews. Big physical receiver on the outside, 6'4", 220 pounds. And that is going to be close to another first down for Pitt. Give him 9.
Another positive gain on first down really plays into allowing the offensive line to get off on second down. Now they're going to call it a first down.
Yep, they are.
First down for Pitt.
First down, Pittsburgh. Trying to get Pickett comfortable, and he looks comfortable. Another completion inside the 25-yard line, down to the 23. That is Matthews again.
Really love the wrinkle of moving Pickett from the pocket to the tackle. That moves the safety to the top of your screen and creates a little bit of a throwing lane back to the short side.
Pickett, all lathered up, finds French, but this time it's through his hands, incomplete. Well, Pickett last week passed for a career-high 41 times. That's what Mark Whipple is asking Pickett to do this year, throw it more, as he tries to understand Whipple's offense.
There is nobody in the country quarterbacks would love to play for more than offensive coordinator Mark Whipple. He has a great rapport, a great communication about him, and I think it's a safety net for Kenny Pickett this year.
That was his first incompletion, started 5 for 5.
And the ball should have been caught.
Pickett looking right, comes back left on the slant. Here's Taysier Mack. Down to the 11-yard line, another first down for the Panthers. That's a gain of 12.
Distribution of the football, you can see it early for the Panthers. They're getting everyone involved. It's the running game, it's the movement in the pocket, it's the shots down the field on the back shoulder that wasn't converted, it's the quick screen to the short side. And now you may even see Kenny Pickett, as the spread offense, may get a little quarterback draw possibly, if the numbers are right.
3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Pickett standing tall in the pocket, walks out of the pocket, looking to the end zone, throws on the run, and it's incomplete along the back line. Will Gregg, the tight end, was there. There is a marker on the field.
I don't know, maybe lineman downfield. That took a long time to develop when Pickett was scrambling and breaking the pocket.
Illegal forward pass, offense, number 8, was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. 5-yard penalty, loss of down, second down.
Let's go down to Doc.
Yeah, Mark Whipple, new offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, not very happy after the opening series, especially with the sack of Pickett. He thought Pickett had a receiver downfield, was open, didn't see him. But when he came to the sidelines, very
reassuring. The ruling on the
reassuring.
field was the passer was beyond the line of scrimmage. The previous play is under further review.
Very reassuring of his quarterback when he came to the sidelines. And just a moment ago, after that forward pass that got the penalty, he brought Pickett over and said, we got this, we got this. You got to love playing for a guy like that, John. I mean, so helpful to a quarterback trying to learn the system.
Well, I think it's such a great support system for a quarterback. You go into an opener against an ACC rival in Virginia, pick to win the Coastal, and you don't have success, and you're trying to fight back. And I think Pickett early today shows that he has the confidence to play the position in this new offense. Let's take a look. The yard line is the 11. That back foot looked like it was at the 11. That's going to be a a tough one to overturn. Remember, you need indisputable video evidence. But it looked like Pickett that back foot was parallel with the 11-yard line.
Rusty Acree is our
After
replay
review,
official.
the quarterback's right foot was not beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball.
You called it,
Therefore,
John.
it's an incomplete pass, 2nd down and 10. The clock is correct, and we'll start on the snap.
Getting back to Doc's report, I think already we can see more comfort for Pickett after that opening series where he took the sack. We have seen him find some rhythm in the passing game here in series number 2.
It's confidence. You know, you have supreme confidence to play the position anyway, but you got to get the other guys, the other 10 guys, to buy in to where you're going. And I think that's happening. The more success you have in this new offense, the more guys are going to buy into it.
And here comes more laundry. Another false start, I think.
You got that one right, Clay.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It was on Carter Warren the first time on the false start. Now it's on the other tackle, Nolan Ulizio, the grad transfer from Michigan.
You know, you still see some of those mistakes from week 1 bleed into week 2, and it's just not one person. It's everybody taking their turn. This is where you have to, in the red zone, be so efficient and try to get those first points of the game.
4 new starters on that O-line. Some growing pains going on. Pickett bounces out, looking downfield, 10th play of the series, and he'll dump it inside the 10-yard line to Trey Tipton, who caught the only Pitt touchdown pass last week. And it's going to bring up 3rd down as you see Mark Whipple, the offensive coordinator, talking to Kenny Pickett, who took a beating last week. He was sacked 4 times. He's already been sacked today. How much of that was on him last week?
I think it was a shared issue. I think the offensive line gave up some, but Kenny tried to hold it, making big plays down the field. So I would think it's 50-50.
In the red zone here, 3rd down. And we'll call it 7. Cox's arm fires. That was nearly picked off at the goal line by Jared Dorsa, the reigning MAC East Defensive Player of the Week.
One of those leaders on that defense. It looked like Pickett threw it right at the middle linebacker, Jared Dorsa, and the Bobcats would have loved to turn away the Panthers there on 3rd down with an interception.
Ohio returning 6 starters from a defense that led the country in takeaways last year. Almost had one there. Here's Alex Kessman setting up from 27 yards out. And Pitt has the first quarter lead. A couple of series for the Panthers. We've seen some good things, but so far only 3 points on the board. (3-0) Pittsburgh after a 12-play, 79-yard drive. Let's go down to Doc.
Well, this is the 9th time these two teams have met, but Pittsburgh has certainly owned the matchup, winning 7 out of 8. However, the last time they played, September 9th, 2005, it was Frank Solskjaer's first ever home game as the new head coach of the Bobcats. And guess what? They pulled off a huge upset in overtime, 16-10 over Pittsburgh. So his era began with a victory, and Dave Wannstedt, the new head coach of Pittsburgh, began the season 0-2. That's the last time they played. And again, that was in Athens, Ohio, not here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we talked to Frank about that. He said that's an ancient history.
You know, you have to do nothing but respect Frank Solich for where he's been. Only 4 stops in his career, 2 of those in high school, and then 2 of those, one at Nebraska where he was winning, averaging 9 wins a year. He gets fired there unbelievably. And then you take a look at these coaches, and now the rest of his career at Ohio, but Ferentz and Patterson and Whittingham, and Frank Solich going to be 75 tomorrow, his 15th year at Ohio. Just does such a terrific job.
Born in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, about 60 miles east of Pittsburgh. Gets up every morning and still loves going to work. Says he's going to coach for as long as he still loves it. And right now he's got a burning passion for this game like he always has. Julian Ross in the backfield as Ohio goes back to work on offense. And it is Ross getting across the 30-yard line. That's a strong run for the sophomore out of Kansas City. JC transfer, made a big splash last week. 3 carries, 65 yards, a couple of touchdowns in that win over Rhode Island.
You know, Clay, it's key for Ohio to run the football with Keyshawn Camp, one of the 2 defensive tackles for Pitt, out of the game.
Julian Ross again And he had some daylight, but he was tripped up by DeMar Hamlin, the free safety. But he does get enough for the first down. Let's go back to Doc.
Ohio likes to run the football, but their head coach, consider this. He was a fullback at Nebraska at 175 pounds for Bob Devaney. And he was the first player ever to rush for 200 or more yards as a Nebraska Cornhusker at 175 pounds. Pretty tough guy. And now you understand why his offense is so tough running the ball.
They used to use fullbacks at Ohio.
Used to have them everywhere.
But the offense has changed a little bit with him and Tim Albin running things. Down the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Ross out of the backfield on that wheel route. Kylan Johnson, the grad transfer from Florida, broke it up. And it'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, Doc talks about running the football, and Nathan Rourke a big part of that running attack. But with Pittsburgh losing 2 of their top defensive tackles, Keyshawn Camp last week against Virginia with a knee injury. Before the season, Rashad Weaver, who was an all-ACC player, out for the year with an ACL. Look for Ohio to stick with the running game, especially if they get positive yardage on 1st and 2nd down.
So that was Rourke's first pass attempt. He'll make it 2 in a row as Buckner makes the catch on the screen. And he'll get to the 44-yard line. Jerome Buckner, they think, could be the next Poppy White. Poppy White was a terrific star at Ohio the last several years. Frank Solich doesn't make comments like that very easily. He's usually pretty understated. So that's saying something. Here's Rourke. Looking to throw again. He finds Ross wrapped up in the backfield. That'll be a loss of a handful. Well, Chase Pine, the starter at middle linebacker, made the tackle, and it's 4th down.
His 2nd career start. He started that bowl game against the Stanford Cardinal on good open field tackle on an elusive back. Nathan tried to just get that football out. A lot of pressure in the pocket by the Panthers front 7, but that was a nice open field tackle by Chase Pine.
So again, with Nathan Rourke a little bit under the weather, the Ohio offense has yet to strike on all cylinders. And this is the 2nd punt for Michael Farkas. French is going to come up. And he dropped it. Ball loose. And French is able to recover at the 10-yard line. A near critical mistake for the Pitt special teams. There's a flag back at midfield.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 6. Half the distance to the goal penalty will be 1st down Pitt. Timeout.
Maurice French, very capable return man. Almost another mistake, and we've seen quite a few mistakes from Pitt here in the first couple weeks of the season. Pittsburgh, where you're watching the ACC on ESPN alongside John Congemi, former Pitt quarterback on Playmatic. Doc Punch down on the sideline. There's Drew Medved and his twin sister Sophia. They turned 21 today, identical twins.
Happy birthday.
And look at this. Drew's in the Pitt band, Sophia in the Ohio band.
I think it's great. You know, 2 boarding states, and you get a lot of crossover, and you get crossover in families here with Ohio and Pittsburgh.
Panthers backed up, started their own 5-yard line. Todd Sibley on the carry. And you know the instrument that they
You know what?
play?
I was going to leave that to you, Clay.
They both play the same instrument as it happens.
What is that?
The mellophone.
Okay. I have no idea.
I had to look it up myself. It's something that looks a little bit like a trumpet.
Okay. I'll go with trumpet.
So,
okay.
Happy birthday to them.
Yes, happy birthday to Sophia and Drew.
After no gain, here's Sibley again. He's not going to get anything on this one either. Boy, the run game has been slow to get started here for Pitt. Just 7 total yards rushing.
Well, the Panthers' young offensive line has not set the world on fire in being able to win the line of scrimmage. And credit that front 7 for Ohio. They really won that battle up front.
So Pitt forced to go to the air. Pickett in trouble from the end zone, able to get rid of it before a sack in the end zone. And this offense doesn't look very good. Austin Conrad got right up in Pickett's face, and it's 4th down.
Very reminiscent of what Virginia did to the Panthers last week with delayed blitzes from linebackers and safety, and Pickett did a heck of a job of eluding the tackle, or would-be tackle, of Austin Conrad. That was a sack for sure, and now Coach Whipple, the offensive coordinator, trying to communicate with the offensive line and his quarterback to get that figured out.
Second 3 and out for the Panthers as Chris Dedulu has to punt from the back of the end zone. It's a good kick. Buckner will take it from his own 40. Finds some running room. Comes to midfield. Another flag on the field. Buckner into Pitt territory. He'll walk out at the 31-yard line. 55-yard kick. Good return for Buckner.
During the kick, holding receiving team number 26. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Ohio University.
Ohio will still start in Pitt territory. Well, coming up next, week 2 rolls on with South Florida and Georgia Tech. Then it's Louisiana Monroe squaring off against Florida State and Tallahassee. And tonight at 8 o'clock, Miami, North Carolina in our ACC Network primetime matchup presented by Geico. Mac Brown and his old DC, Manny Diaz, matching wits tonight.
Boy, Mac Brown did a heck of a job in the Tar Heels in week 1, defeating South Carolina by 4 and Miami. Losers by 4 to Florida, but they had every chance to win that game. So breaking in their redshirt freshman quarterback Jared Williams for his second start.
Ohio's had to punt on its first 2 series. And they actually spotted at the 45-yard line of Ohio. It's Allison who might get a yard on the right side. Pine on the tackle. Nathan Rourke threw for 188 yards and a couple of touchdowns last week. Also ran for a touchdown last week against Rhode Island. His career numbers are spectacular as a twin threat.
They're off the charts. And anytime you can run the football as effectively as Nathan Rourke can on the perimeter of a defense, it puts so much stress and pressure on that front 7 for the Panthers today.
And again, as Doc told you at the start of the telecast, Rourke not feeling good. Connects with his receiver Shane Hooks there out to midfield. Rourke hit 9 different receivers last week, completed 73% of his passes. And when we talked to Frank Solich leading up to this game, he said the timing on his release has really improved. He's not just a runner. His throwing is really getting better.
And the thing you have with a veteran quarterback, he has complete freedom at the line of scrimmage to get in and out of plays. And it's his choice. He runs this offense perfectly.
3rd and short. Can they pick it up? They do with O'Shawn Allison. First time in Pitt territory. First down. Pine made the tackle. Allison, one of 4 quality running backs that we're going to see today for Ohio. And they said they're just going to go with the hot hand.
Well, here's where you might want to take a shot down the field with that zone read. Pull it and get it to one of your speedsters down the middle of the field.
Rourke gives it to Allison, finds room on the right side, and he'll rip off 8 yards. The Bobcats graduated Malik Irons and A.J. Ouellette out of the backfield. Ouellette had over 1,000 yards each of the last couple of years. They think Allison is going to be one of the guys that can fill that void. On 2nd and 2, Rourke sets, throws, has a man, incomplete. Throw a little high, but Ty Walton, the redshirt freshman who wears Poppy White's old number 4, couldn't come down with it.
Yeah, Ty goes at 5'9". If he's 5'11", he may have a chance at that one. And that's one, Nathan, it should be caught on the outside, but you want to have that one back because you've got such great momentum going on the offensive side, especially because they're dominating at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's a surprise, a shock to the Panthers on defense.
And Randy Bates' defense trying to get off the field here on 3rd down. 3rd and 2. Rourke looking, and he's complete. That's a first down catch for Jerome Buckner. And the drive stays alive. That's a gain of 8 yards for Ohio. Down to the 26.
Clay, you love the confidence of the quarterback. The ball comes out on time right at the break, and it's the same throw he just missed. He just missed Ty Walton the play before, and now he moves the chains on 3rd down.
Going with a little tempo here. It's Allison for 2. Ohio's offense has evolved under Albin and Solich. When they first got to Ohio, it was the Nebraska wishbone essentially. But 15 years later, it's sometimes up tempo, a lot more wide receivers being used in the offense.
Might want to take a shot. Those 50-50 balls, you might get pass interference, but you he likes to try to take shots at the end zone here when they cross the 30-yard line.
2nd and 8. Rourke keeps, and he wishes he didn't. A host of tacklers there. That's going to be a loss, as Jason Pinnock, number 15, was the first one there for the Panthers.
Playing the edge, you have to be able to contain and take good angles when you're playing against a guy that can run it from the quarterback position, in Nathan Rourke. And you're right, the first guy there was cornerback Jason Pinnock, coming on that short side blitz to get the tackle for loss, and now it's advantage Pittsburgh with 3rd and long for the Bobcats.
Rourke sacked for the first time today. I'm sure everything hurts a little bit more today because he hasn't felt well the last 24 hours.
No fun playing today for Nathan.
And we got a timeout. .31 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Ohio with a timeout, down 3.
Before the play clock expired, timeout was called by Ohio University. Their first timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
Ohio talking about it as they're facing a 3rd down and 14. They've got a really good field goal kicker in Louis Zervos. Frank Solich is confident with him from well beyond 40 yards, but would like to pick up the first down. 3rd down and long. This will be the 9th play of the drive for Nathan Rourke and company.
Make good, sound decisions from the pocket here on 3rd and long. You've got a field goal kicker that's pretty consistent. The last thing you want to do now is take a sack and get you out of scoring position.
Boy, we've had a lot of flags today. You know, the false start.
False start, offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Now they're backing Zervos out of field goal range now.
They certainly are. A lot of mistakes here in week 2. We felt like week 2 might be the week both teams limit those pre-snap penalties, but we've seen them both for Ohio and the Panthers.
That was one of the things that Frank Solich wasn't happy with last week in the win over Rhode Island. They had 7 penalties. They've already got 3 today. So now 3rd and 18. They need the 16-yard line. Rourke spun around, got it deep downfield, but nobody home as he just got rid of it to avoid the loss. And we'll see what Frank Solich decides to do, if they will attempt a field goal here or try and bury Pitt deep in their own end.
They may punt the football away here, try to play field position.
They will bring Farkas out, the punter.
Good response by the Panthers. It looked like the Bobcats offensively had some rhythm with the run. Had a nice completion on the outside to Buckner, but pre-snap penalty and a sack looks like it's going to give the football back to Pittsburgh.
Farkas, good hang time. Trying to dump it in the corner. And that was a great punt, but can't keep it out of the end zone. It's a touchback. Well, folks, in ACC country, we need your help. A lot of people affected by Hurricane Dorian, and your donation will help support Red Cross preparation, response, and recovery efforts in the United States and the Bahamas. Please go to www.redcross.org/ESPN or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to donate now. You live down in Florida. You're in hurricane country every year.
Yes.
This one missed Florida, but the Carolinas and a lot of the eastern seaboard are going to get hit.
Absolutely. You know, people in Georgia and devastation in the Bahamas, obviously. So every little bit helps. And I know in South Florida, it's been phenomenal, the support they've been able to give, and I'm sure around the country.
So Pickett on first down throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. Trey Tipton trying to get his arms up underneath it. And Marlon Brooks was there in the coverage for Ohio.
That pocket collapses, and if the pocket's a little bit stronger, I think Kenny Pickett has a chance to step into that throw for the completion down the field to Trey Tipton.
This O-line with 4 new starters. They seem to be on their heels a lot. Deep handoff to A.J. Davis. And he'll run across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Last play of the first quarter. And it was a mistake-laden first quarter for both teams. But after 15 minutes, Pitt has the lead, John.
You know, Pitt's done a good job of trying to rally back, but you're right. It's going to be the team that can improve on those mistakes as we move forward that will have a chance to win this game as we get closer to the second half.
This is a tradition at Pitt, and I love it. I love that Ditka mustache. Oh, Ditka's still bringing it, too.
Iron Mike.
Springing the way for Dorsett. With Marino and
I don't know
thick of it, too.
If TD and Danny had a race, I think there'd be a little bit more distance between them.
What I want to know is where was the number 15 guy?
That's right. He's left out.
Pickett is complete into Ohio territory. It's Maurice French. Look out. He could go. Touchdown, Panthers. Maurice French. 74 yards on the catch and run. It's a touchdown. And Pitt has a 9-0 lead. Boy, this offense really needed that. As Kessman comes on for the point after. We've seen it stumble. We've seen it hurt itself. We've seen this offense just look not very sharp at times the last couple of weeks, including today. But on this series, Pickett hits French.
First of all, the offensive line holds up. Secondly, Kenny Pickett does a great job of moving himself to a place he can throw the football and now getting it to your playmakers. That's the recipe for success for the Panthers. Believing in yourself, moving around, letting your quarterback lead, and now get it to your explosive playmakers on the outside, which Maurice French is one of those guys.
First touchdown of the year for French. Second touchdown pass for Pickett.
And that feels good for your quarterback right there.
Got to make plays. How many times did we hear Pat Narduzzi say it this week?
Well, when you miss them, you know, last week you got to come back and try to find a way to do it. The easiest way to do it is get it to your playmaker on the outside, and that's Maurice French. 2 rushing touchdowns, 6 touchdowns through the air. Even on special teams, this guy finds the end zone. He had 2 returns for touchdowns last year. So this is a guy, I think, moving forward, if you're looking for explosive plays, look on the outside for number 2.
On the first play of quarter number 2, Maurice French scores the first touchdown of the day, and it's 10-0. And this was during the commercial break. Our own John Congemi, who made just about all of Pittsburgh forget about Dan Marino when he was quarterback here at the Panthers. He brought his family along. There's your lovely wife, Carmela, on the left, your mom on the right, Camille.
Ellen Pohl in the middle, and good friend Tippy Pohl in the background. Yeah,
Where's
that
your
was
dad?
pretty cool.
Didn't he get a seat today?
My dad's in there somewhere. He's probably at the bar, if I had to guess.
John Sr. It was great to see him at the hotel. So here's Rourke throwing on first down for Ohio, and Tuggle is wrapped up quickly for no gain by the linebacker Campbell.
It'll be interesting to see how Ohio responds now. Down 10 points. You have a quarterback that you trust. You have a quarterback that is not feeling 100%. You want to be able to get a drive here where you can keep this offense on the field.
On 2nd and 10. Demontre Tuggle, the JC transfer. We'll get a couple. Patrick Jones, the defensive end, wraps him up.
Clay, do you feel like the offense for Ohio may be a little bit more limited in quarterback run because of the way Nathan feels coming into today? I felt like he ran the football a lot more effectively throughout watching him last year and even in week 1. I just feel like right now he's a guy that's handing it and giving it more than pulling it on the edge.
Well, there's no doubt he has had a bad 24, maybe 48 hours, hasn't felt well. He was a game-time decision. We know he doesn't have strep or mono, but we also know he's not 100%. They're 2 of 5 today on 3rd down, and Rourke is going to go down. 2nd sack today for the Panthers. Big loss. And Ohio will have to punt as Deslin Alexander, who made his first career start last week, is playing well so far today.
Boy, and they brought the house this time. Nowhere to go for Nathan Rourke. Deslin Alexander, Kylan Johnson, you can give that sack just about to that entire defensive front for the Panthers, but Deslin was the first guy there.
Maurice French back to return this Farkas kick. He hasn't called for a fair catch yet. He muffed the last one. He's cool on this one. Going a long way to the other side of the field and finds some room. And gets into Ohio territory. Maurice French is a firecracker. Officially 20 yards on that return. Back at the house Kajemi built after this. Pitt Stadium.
Yeah. 5 of 8 for only 18 yards in rushing. You count those sacks, so minus 13. It's been a lot of pressure over the last maybe 2 or 3 offensive series that have held Nathan and the rest of this offense down, because before that, it felt like Ohio, that offensive line was really winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, and they had some good running game with Julian Ross and Allison. But right now, the Panthers have great field position, something they didn't have last week.
Yeah, average starting field position against Virginia was their own 23. They start at the Ohio 47. Best starting field position of the day. Pickett, all kinds of time. He'll throw it off short to Todd Sibley. The heavily recruited running back out of Akron, Ohio, played mostly special teams last year. But again, they're looking for guys to step up in that running back core. Davis, Sibley, Malik Carter, Vincent Davis. Those are the candidates after losing Darren Hall and Quadri Olison off the team from last year. A couple of 1,000-yard rushers. With Sibley diving ahead again. He'll get close to the 40-yard line.
Clay, I think that last run's an example of where they want to get maybe 3 or 4 more. You know, after first contact, that little jump cut in the hole, you get 2 or 3 yards, but that was a massive hole to get maybe 7 to 10 yards.
And we're seeing more running. It was Pitt offense for sure. The Pickett goes back to the air here. Catch made by the tight end, Griffin Stewart, and he's got the first down. Nakia Griffin Stewart bounced off a tackler, and he'll pick it up. The grad transfer from Rutgers.
Well, bouncing off of defenders and bouncing back from an early drop. That's Griffin Stewart. This was a good concentration catch, good toughness, secure the football and get the first down. That's the way to come back after an early drop in the first quarter.
We're going to use the tight ends a little bit more in this offense under Mark Whipple.
You may get a shot play here.
They go to French in the flat. Gets around that screen to pick up a handful inside the 30-yard line. Give him 6.
Really like what Mark Whipple does in terms of formations. Gets a lot of looks, and it allows Kenny Pickett, the next time he sees that coverage in that formation, to know where to go with the football.
His UMass team's put up 92 against Ohio the last couple of years. That's first down yardage for Will Bragg, but a marker down. We'll see if this is coming back. Pitt's already had 4 penalties today.
Defender may have been in the neutral zone.
Number 55 lined up in the neutral zone. That's an offside defense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is accepted. First down.
That's Sam McKnight, the defensive end. So now both teams with 4 penalties. As you look at Pat Narduzzi, who's had winning records in 3 of his 4 years here at Pitt.
Now, he was frustrated after week 1. He knows his team can play a lot better, and it didn't start that way today, but they're starting to come out of it with explosive plays and being able to get those total yards where they want it.
184 yards, but only a handful on the ground. Pickett looking to pass again. Left it short for Will Gregg, the tight end, and he'll bang his way to another first down for the Panthers.
You have to be tough to play the position of quarterback. You're going to take a lot of hits. Kenny Pickett took a big one there, but it turns out to be a first down for the Panthers.
First down and goal to go. And they send Butler Jenkins in motion out to the right. And another screen pass to French. Getting behind the block of Butler Jenkins and inside the 5-yard line. Butler Jenkins is 6 foot, 215 pounds, through a good block on the outside for French.
Boy, he sure did. And that's a great stop and start movement by French. He can keep those feet flat on the ground, make the defender stop, and then get out and use that speed on the perimeter.
That's a touchdown for Pittsburgh. Vincent Davis, first carry of the day, and it's a touchdown. True freshman out of Fort Lauderdale. Taking it in from 3 yards out.
Well, it's got to feel good for a young guy, get his first collegiate touchdown of his career. Really good, efficient drive by the Panthers.
Now Kessman, the extra point. Now things are starting to fall into place for Pitt. Vincent Davis, just a couple of carries last week. Pat Narduzzi said leading up to this game, we're not sure if he's going to play more than 4 games this year. Well, keeps doing stuff like that.
That's
he
right.
Might be playing all year.
Welcome to the Bird.
Pitt now with touchdowns on their last 2 drives. It's 17-0 as we go down to Dr. Punch.
Yeah, Nathan Rourke diagnosed yesterday morning, about 24 hours ago, with what they thought was a strep throat. Turned out not to be strep. Antibiotics, fluids, and normally with 85% of these viral, it takes about 5 days to get well. Now here's the bad news. Normally day 2 is your worst day. This is day 2 for Nathan Rourke. Cannot be 100%. Got to be feeling it. Probably why he's not running the ball very much on that dual threat option.
You're the doctor, and I think, Jerry's right. I mean, judging by what we're seeing here, he can't be feeling well.
Body language tells you a lot when you look at a quarterback. Whether things are going good or bad, you try to put on that face and be the leader of the team. There's no hiding when you're sick. Mentally, you have to be so strong. And it started out okay for Ohio on offense. They're winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. But at this point, you take a look, you're just not getting enough out of that position in terms of what you're used to. And I think head coach Frank Solich knows his guy's giving it his best effort, but his best might not be good enough right now because of the way he feels.
Ohio scored on all 7 of the drives that he engineered last week against Rhode Island. In fact, Bobcats had 3 drives that were over 90 yards. They've punted 4 times here today. They swing it out to Allison. Boy, it's been like that all day for this Ohio offense. Pitt reading exactly what they're doing. Cam Bright, the outside linebacker, with the 5th tackle for loss for the Panthers today.
Really good recognition. We talked earlier about this Pitt defense taking good angles, being able to contain, get everything inside. They've done a really good job of that through 1.5 quarters.
2nd and long. Rourke hit as he throws, got rid of it. Nice catch coming back to the ball at the 41-yard line. And there wasn't a lot on that ball for Rourke, but enough. That's a gain of 19 and a first down.
Pocket kind of collapsing. He had to throw him open, really. He tried to stop him with the throw in that hole down the field, down that college hash. So it was a good job by Nathan being able to stop knock on that hash for the big play.
First catch for D.L. Knock. First down and 10 from the 42. Rourke coming to the near sideline. Deep ball for Buckner. He got it. He had plenty mustard on that throw, and brought down at the 13-yard line by Hamlin.
Terrific job of hanging in a clean pocket, and he unloads on this one. Nathan Rourke, all he could muster in a perfect dime to the outside to Jerome Buckner. Now the Bobcats are in business inside the 20-yard line in the red zone.
45-yard play, biggest play of the day by far for the Bobcats.
This is where the quarterback run comes into play. When you get inside, you don't account for him in the run game.
Fakes the handoff, clutches, throws, should have been caught, should have been a touchdown for Buckner.
Clay, those are the plays you circle on Sunday mornings ago. This could be a difference in the football game. Boy, what a good move, good head fake, good shoulder fake. Could not throw a better pass over the shoulder of Paris Ford. That simply has to be caught by Jerome Buckner.
Rourke's probably thinking, hey man, you got to help me out here, especially when I'm feeling the way I do.
I know it. Yeah, those are ones, if a touchdown turns into a field goal, you definitely circle for Ohio.
So Buckner comes out, second down and 10. Ohio trying to get on the board. They go to Allison on the run, and he'll knife his way close to the 5-yard line, knee down at the 6. Baldonado on the tackle. That's a gain of 7. Haba Baldonado, the defensive end who played American football in Rome, then moved to Clearwater, Florida, hoping to get noticed, and he did on his way to Pitt.
I think if you're offensive coordinator Tim Albin, you come back with that exact same zone read play and you give Rourke the option of taking it out of the belly of Allison in the run game.
And now Pitt wants a timeout. Randy Bates, the defensive coordinator, backed up deep.
Pitt.
He and Pat Narduzzi will talk strategy here with 7:05 to go before half. Pat Narduzzi said publicly this week he was pleased with the defense against Virginia, keeping the Cavs to 310 total yards, but they were defending a short field most of that game. Well, they're backed up here now, a third down and short for Ohio at the 6-yard line. It's 7:05 to go before half. Allison in the backfield, he'll go in motion. Rourke out of the gun for the Bobcats. Looking to the end zone, has a clean pocket, throws, it's tipped, and out of the end zone, incomplete. And Pitt's defense may have forced a field goal attempt. Paris Ford with a nice play there for the Panthers.
Boy, that was a great defensive stand. After you drop one in the end zone, there wasn't anywhere to deliver the football. The Panthers had the Bobcats skill players on the outside covered. You try to jam one in the middle, and luckily for Nathan Rourke, it tips out of the end zone, so you have a field goal try, short field goal try here for Zervos.
Zervos 2 for 2 on field goals last week with a long of 42. This is a chip shot from 23. And the Bobcats are on the board. They had that one big play, the catch by Buckner, but then moments later he had what should have been a touchdown go through his hands, and Ohio misses an opportunity for more points. Well, the Huddle is our signature football show hosted by Jack Collinsworth, with analyst Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, and Coach Mark Rick. They preview the weekend slate of games and keep you updated on all things ACC football next Saturday morning at 11, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app.
You know, it's funny. I know E.J. and Mark are tough guys. I've seen Mac in the studio. I didn't realize that Jack was so tough after taking that big hit last week.
He did.
Huh?
He got up. Well, he comes from tough stuff.
Well, he does. He does.
Man, he looks like his dad, doesn't he?
He does. Those guys do a great job.
How about the Pitt defense?
Well, they did a great job. They were fortunate they had the drop by Buckner in the end zone, because that was an easy 6 points. And it feels like you get momentum back on the Ohio sideline, and you're only 10 points down. Now you get a field goal, and the Panthers want to take this and exhaust maybe 5 or 6 minutes off the clock with points.
Not a lot of big plays in this game. Each team one play of 20 yards or more. And 45-yard reception for Buckner led to the field goal for the Bobcats. And yet another touchback. So Kenny Pickett and this new offense led by coordinator Mark Whipple, this is how it has gone so far. A couple of punts, a couple of touchdowns, field goal in there as well. Overall, your take, are we seeing improvement from week 1 to week 2 with this offense?
Overall, yes. It started ragged. You know, he had some penalties before the ball was snapped. You never want to do that in week 2 after the mistakes of week 1. But I think the quarterback, the offensive line, has done a really better job protecting Pickett on those 2 touchdown drives.
First down for the 25. Pickett on the bootleg. Looking downfield and a little bit underthrown. Incomplete, intended for Griffin Stewart. Pickett now 14 of 20. 187 yards and a touchdown. And you'll notice that Pickett doesn't get the plays shuttled in from another player, or there aren't signals from the sideline. He essentially walks over to Whipple and gets it from the coach himself. As Malik Carter takes the handoff, it'll be 3rd down and long. I mean, the communication, that's kind of how they did it back in your day in the 80s.
They did, actually. I would get it like I was a track star, going back and forth trying to listen what would want to be called on the offense. And Whip doesn't have a problem with it. He seems like I can communicate easily enough with him. And Kenny doesn't like to wear the wristband, but they got to find a way to create movement here on 3rd down.
3rd and 7. Pass complete. There's Mack. Their deep threat gets it across the 50 into Ohio territory. Taysir Mack, the junior out of Brooklyn, New York, with a gain of 23.
Man coverage, pressure comes, solid pickup in the backfield by Malik Carter. That allows Kenny Pickett to exploit that man-to-man coverage down the middle. He found his big target in Mack.
Pickett wants to throw again, slides up, finds French at the 29. Boy, that was a pretty play. Maurice French just snatched it out of the air, a 20-yard pickup.
If you protect him, yards will come, and that's exactly what the Panthers are doing now. Good protection by that offensive line. Get the skill guys in space and let Kenny pick you apart.
Pickett now 230 yards passing.
False start offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
This is the kind of stuff that's going to tick Narduzzi off.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
57.
It's actually on Gabe Hoy, number 57. The right guard making his 4th career start. But you can see the numbers for Pickett now going north. A lot of passing yards.
We had a career high last week with 41 attempts. I don't think Pitt wants to live there this season.
Now they want to find a balance for sure, and maybe Malik Carter can help out in that department. Pretty good running back. A sophomore out of West Palm Beach. And we got a player down for Ohio after that 9-yard gain for number 19.
Looked like Alvin Floyd, one of the safeties for the Bobcats.
They're going to check on him. He wants to get up. The trainers are saying stay down. 5:11 to go before halftime. Floyd, sophomore defensive back for Ohio, got his bell rung on the last play. He wanted to stay in the game, and the trainer said, don't be foolish. You're coming out.
No, he took a shot to the head, and he needed to stay down. Looks like he's doing much better now, but as Malik Carter was coming through that hole down the middle, he gets a shot right to the side of the jaw, and you have to come out. I mean, he was doing his best to try to shake it off, but you need to go see the doctors at that point.
Panthers leading. 2nd down and 5 on the 24. Malik Carter out of the Wildcat, or the Wild Panther, I guess as it is. Gets a couple of yards. They're going to use Carter in various ways. He had only 1 carry last week, but he's explosive, just a little inexperienced.
Well, they feel like they can get more speed in this offense, and you have French on the outside. You have Mack as a big target. You get Wayne back, and Carter's one of those guys you like to get in space.
He had a big game against Duke last year, a couple of touchdowns. And now
timeout.
Pitt wants a timeout.
Their 2nd timeout of the half.
They've got 1 remaining.
30-second timeout.
4:31 to go here in the 2nd quarter. Well, we're very excited to tell you about Bowden Dynasty, the documentary film that explores the life and times of the legendary head coach Bobby Bowden. From the football field to his family, there's one common theme, and that is love. The Bowden Dynasty, Wednesday, 8 Eastern, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. I first met Bobby Bowden in 1998, and I was immediately struck with how nice of a man he was, given the fact he was already at that time a college football giant.
What an unbelievable coach and a person. I had a chance to be recruited and play against him in college. Just a great man.
And Frank Solich was at Nebraska even when he was an assistant. There were some great battles between Nebraska and Florida State back in the day.
Florida State had to travel everywhere to play named teams.
Pickett to throw. He'll get it to French on the screen. Spins out of a tackle, but then Ohio, great pursuit to get to the ball carrier. Jamal Hudson, the corner, was there. That's going to be a loss of 5 on the play, so it's 4th down now. And the field goal unit will come out for Pittsburgh.
Well, that's great recognition on the edge of that defense by Hudson and a couple other teammates, keeping the explosive play on the outside and really running the receiver back to where help was coming from the inside.
Frank Solich had to replace a defensive coordinator this year for the first time. He's got to be happy with his defensive unit there. Here's a 45-yard field goal attempt for Kessman, and it had no chance. Kessman with a huge leg, but that just didn't look right from the get-go.
He may have caught the turf before he got to the football. That came out low and left early. Let's see if that kicking leg hits the ground. Looks like a bunch of turf coming up. That didn't look right from the start.
He missed from 50 yards last week. That's a little bit out of his character, given the fact that he has 6 career field goals over 50 yards. In fact, he has the Heinz Field record. The record in this building, NFL or college, of 55 yards. But nothing to show for that series for Pittsburgh. There is Ty Walton taking a shot from Damari Mathis, the junior from Lakeland, Florida, throwing his body around.
Yeah, that's a good play by 2 corners on back-to-back plays defensively, one for Ohio, and that time Damari Mathis comes up with the big hit on the edge of the defense for the Panthers. It's imperative for Ohio. There's plenty of time left with 3:21 and counting that they can go down and get points before halftime.
And a 7-play scoring drive on their last series. Second and 6 from the 31. Rourke, the pitch. Allison trying to cut it up. And he is met and dropped at the line of scrimmage. Patrick Jones, number 91, who has a starting role this year at defensive end. A lot of people around here think he has all conference potential.
He does. There's a lot of upside to Patrick Jones. And talking with Randy Bates, the Panthers defensive coordinator, he said Jones and Alexander, that those 2 guys are going to have to step up their game on the edge of the Panther defense.
And that's the play they were talking about right there.
That's it.
3rd and 6. Rourke feeling some pressure again from Jones. Throws it complete. And that is a 1st down catch and run for Cam Oden, their most veteran receiver. Give him 22 and a 1st down.
What a great job of going from 1 to 2 to 3, inside to outside. He had in cuts coming from the left, trips formation, and he waited on Cameron Odom to break free.
Back to the air. Rourke escapes and throws it incomplete. Boy, great pressure there by the defensive front that time of Jones and Twyman and Watts, and it was Jones again who forced him out of the pocket.
And that's one that Nathan would like to have back. Number one, he'd like to feel a lot better while he's moving and avoiding those sacks, but you just don't have the legs after you escape and try to get it down the field. That one kind of short hopped him a little bit on 1st down.
Rourke, who averages 6 yards per carry over the balance of his career, has been a non-factor in the Ohio running game today. 2nd down and 10. Allison bumped, pushed back, and it'll be 3rd and fairly long. Pinnock made that tackle as we're under 2 minutes to go here in the 2nd.
And here comes a little tempo by Ohio in their offense.
3 receiver set. Pressure. Rourke And incomplete, batted down. It was intended for Buckner, but another great play by Mathis, who we have called his name a lot.
Mathis does a good job of breaking on the football. The pass was high, so credit Jerome Buckner to go up and climb the ladder and try to come down with it, but a good recognition, a good trigger by Mathis to get in and around the football for the breakup.
The Bobcats will have to punt for the 5th time. French back to return. And we get a timeout called by Frank Solich and the Bobcats.
Timeout. Ohio University. Their 2nd timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
And maybe some poor communication there on what was actually supposed to happen.
Well, I think Austin Conrad, the upback, number 47, didn't like what he saw on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
And he's the one that called timeout?
Yeah, I think he called it from the field. He didn't like the formation the Panthers came up with, maybe something they didn't cover. So I think that's good recognition by Ohio and their special teams.
Well, Coach turns 75 tomorrow. 166 career wins, 4th most among active coaches. He has seen everything. He's done just about everything. 9 bowl games in the last 10 years.
And they're the favorites this year in the MAC conference.
Yeah, not just in the division, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
And that would be a first for Frank. He's been in the title game 4 times, but he's never won the championship. So 4th down and 6, and they will punt. We think. Farkas trying to dump it inside the 10. Fair catch called for by French. And maybe French playing it up a little bit, trying to get a penalty flag. None thrown. Can't fault the guy for trying.
No, that's tight quarters. I've never done that, so I'm not going to say that's ever easy to do, but that's West Coast right there. A little bit of acting.
Yeah, they're laughing it up. All right, so here comes the Pittsburgh offense. 259 yards total. 225 of it coming through the air. This is such a contrast from what we've known Pitt's offense to be in recent years, specifically last year when they ran it so well.
That's right, and the turnaround with the 3 and outs. 5 last week, just 2 today.
Davis on the carry. A.J. Davis, the junior. Vincent Davis, the true freshman, has the rushing touchdown today for Pittsburgh. McKnight and Hagan combine on that stop. 1 timeout for Pittsburgh with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. What is the philosophy here on this possession for Pittsburgh? Are they going to try and get points, or are they going to be happy with this 14-point lead?
Well, I think they'd like to get a first down to go to the halftime with the lead of 17-3. But for Ohio, they have 1 timeout remaining. So I'm thinking a small gain, minimal gain. You're going to use your timeout here.
Draw play, A.J. Davis. And he's going to be close. I think he does have the first down, and that's big for Pitt, as they will be able to hold on to the football and not have to kick it away.
Now I think if you're the Panthers, you maybe try to get one more run like that, see if you have some success. If not, you kind of take it to the house with the lead.
Touchdown pass for Pickett. They're going to throw here. 22 seconds to go in the half. Feeling some heat off the backside. That's incomplete to Davis. Pittsburgh trying to avoid a 5-game losing streak going back to last November. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the huddle. Catch you up on things going on around the ACC and across the country today. Set you up for that big one tonight. Miami and North Carolina in our game in primetime on the ACC network. And it's A.J. Davis again. I think that's going to do it. 17-3, Pittsburgh with the lead at the half.
Pretty good job by the Panthers responding after the first couple of series. They found the end zone in consecutive drives and got a little bit of rhythm in the passing game with Kenny Pickett catching on fire there in the second quarter.
225 yards passing, a touchdown for Kenny Pickett on 17 of 24. Let's go down to Doc.
Hey, Coach, first half, your defense limiting this high-powered Ohio offense. 140 total yards, 3 points. What do you like most?
You know, we had the one series we gave up some yards. They hit a 7. We called it chair 7. Hit a 7 right on us. Hit us in a pressure. We need to hit the quarterback better. We just didn't blitz well, but it's okay.
Offensively, first quarter, a couple of sacks, some miscues, drop passes. Second quarter, 2 long drives. What changed?
Well, that's what we did last week. Sputtered early, and then the offense just got going a little bit. We had 3 illegal procedures in the first half. Can't have that stuff. That's little details that we just can't have. Now we got to come out and explode in the second half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jerry.
Coming up after the break, the ACC Network College Football Halftime Report with Jack, EJ, Eric, and Coach Rick. 17-3, Pitt leading at the half. On a glorious Saturday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're watching ACC Network Football. And the Panthers of Pitt lead Ohio 17-3 here in Week 2. Alongside former Panthers quarterback John Congemi, I'm Clay Matvick. Dr. Jerry Punch is down on the sideline. Some of the takeaways from the first half.
I think the Panthers found a way to get the football to explosive players on the outside. That was the biggest change for me from Week 1 against a really good Virginia team in Week 2 against Ohio. 7 catches for 118 yards, and he's electric when he gets his hands on the football in the open field. He has the speed to take it 74 yards here on the touchdown, but Kenny Pickett knows he just needs to be a facilitator, distribute the football on the perimeter, and let French and company, those playmakers on the outside, go up, get the football, and feel good about being involved in the offense. Now, Kenny Pickett, for his half of work, 7 of 24, 225, and 1 touchdown. I thought he did a really nice job of moving his feet in the pocket and finding windows to deliver the football. And he showed his toughness, showed his leadership in the first half.
Weren't a lot of big plays, but certainly enough to have the lead at halftime. And that was something that was absent last week. Let's go down to Doc Punch.
Guys, as you might expect, Frank Solich, Ohio head coach, very frustrated at halftime, said we didn't execute well on either side of the ball. In one play, we didn't play well on special teams, and it burned us. He said, but we can't be one-dimensional with this football team, so we got to come out and be able to run the ball. He said, but I'm really disappointed in the pass game. We've got to throw the ball better than we threw it in the first half. And asking about limiting his quarterback in runs, he didn't really want to comment, but I get the idea that they've taken the ball as far as running out of Rourke's hands because he's just not feeling it well.
Yeah, he had 2 carries for negative 13 yards on the ground and 106 yards passing in the first half. Ohio will have it to start quarter number 3, and it's Allison on the run. You talk about the Ohio mistakes, John, and last week that was a problem for Frank Solich's team. They had a couple of turnovers, 7 penalties, even though they won easily over Rhode Island. Those are the things that he wanted to see cleaned up this week. We didn't see that in the first half. A lot of mistakes.
I think also they have to clean up when the Panthers are bringing heat and bringing extra people. You have to take advantage of that. You have to take advantage of winning those one-on-one battles on the outside, those matchups between skill player, wide out, and cornerback.
After the 8-yard pickup for Allison, Rourke will take the snap out of the gun. And it's Allison again. He's going to be close to the first down before he is stacked up. And that Pittsburgh defense, Kylan Johnson and Cam Bright combining on the stop. I thought Chase Pine, the middle linebacker, did a really good job in that first half for Pitt. And that is going to be a first down.
That's good eyes. He had 4 tackles in that first half, 3 of those solos. He had a couple of tackles behind the line of scrimmage. So in his second start at middle linebacker, I think he's accounted very well, the redshirt junior.
He's got some depth at that position, that's for sure. Looking to pass on first down. Rourke backpedaling a bit, now under pressure, and he slings it away as Jalen Twyman was ready to collect the sack. And Pittsburgh wants a intentional grounding, and they might get it as the flag comes out late.
Intentional grounding, offense number 12. That's a spot foul, loss of down, second down.
Well, any Panther that's wearing the number 97, you better be able to produce. And right now, Jalen Twyman did a good job of getting to the quarterback, and that was a good call. I don't think Nathan got to that short side tackle out of the tackle box, so that's intentional grounding to bring second and a very long for Ohio.
Twyman wore number 55 last year, but he wanted to honor Aaron Donald, who wore 97 when he was at Pitt. Living up to that number here today.
Absolutely.
So far. Second down and 24 from the 21. Rourke. Cox fires incomplete. Low and behind Isaiah Cox, the sophomore out of Alabama. And Damari Mathis was draped all over him. He had a great first half.
He really did. He did a really good job of coming up and breaking some would-be big plays on the perimeter, breaking him up. And he had good timing. You know, a lot of the Pitt defenders, they like to play in your face, those cornerbacks, and you get a lot of handsy play. In the first half, I thought Damari did a good job of not only tackling well in the open field, but timing on breaking up 50-50 chances in the air.
Ohio was 3 of 9 in the first half on third down. Rourke on the comebacker to Cox. And he's going to be well short of what they need. Elias Reynolds and Mathis run him out of bounds. It'll be another punting situation for the Bobcats. It's been a busy day for Farkas, the kicker.
And you can see the frustration of Nathan Rourke going to the sideline. You have a positive run and you take a penalty, and it's, you know, you don't feel well and you're not moving the football, and your head coach is kind of trying to get you going on the offensive sideline. Not the start of the second half the Bobcats wanted.
Sixth punt for Farkas. French is going to let it bounce at the 40. Good field position for the Panthers when we come back. 12:50 to go. Just getting started here in the third quarter. 17-3 Pittsburgh. The Ohio Bobcats making their first trip to Pittsburgh since 2004. It's an easy 3-hour drive from Athens, Ohio to the Steel City, approximately 200 miles. Bobcats have never won here. They are 0-7 all time. The only win in the series came back in 05, Frank Solich's first year as head coach of the Bobcats. That was an upset at Peden Stadium. Hard to believe he's been there 15 years already.
It really is. I mean, a guy that loves the game so much. It was good to be around him yesterday and getting to talk with him as we had our production meeting.
Good, humble man. Great football man. Here's Maurice French out of the backfield. He has done some big things today, but that jet sweep had no chance. Javon Hagan, the free safety, who's an NFL prospect, number 7 for Ohio, combined with Pop on that tackle.
Now Pitt will use some tempo on second and long.
Passing on second and 13, Pickett into the flat. It is French trying to spin away from Jaron Hampton, the former walk-on. This will be another loss of a half-yard or so.
What a good open field tackle by Hampton, coming from that strong safety position, middle of the field. And that's an elusive guy he was able to corral outside the numbers.
Mentioned that he's a former walk-on. That's something that Frank Solich really promotes. They have a great tradition of walk-on guys having success at Ohio. They had it at Nebraska.
Exactly.
So now Pickett in a third down and 10. 3 of 7 today on third down. And another penalty flag. Pickett unleashes a pass to the outside. It is caught at the 50-yard line by French. Hagan took him out of bounds, but we'll see if this is going to go against Pittsburgh.
May go against Ohio.
Yep. Lined up offside.
Offside defense, number 23, lined up in the neutral zone. Penalties declined. Result of the plays accepted. Fourth down.
So this could be fourth and really short. Elias Motley, the cornerback, is lining up to blitz.
Big play here. I don't know if the Panthers maybe bring the big guys in and try to use cadence and then punt the football. This is still a football game with 11:36.
And they bring in the fullback, Rashad Wheeler. They hand off to the running back, and Ohio makes the stop. Vincent Davis is punished in the backfield.
Yeah, I'm very surprised, Clay, that the Panthers didn't take the 3rd and 5 and take a chance there and then play field position if they don't get it. But they decide to bring the big unit, and Ohio responds with a defensive surge. Look at the penetration. A lot of white jerseys in the backfield. And as you mentioned, 2 or 3 guys on that right side of the defensive line get in the backfield to really stuff the Panthers on 4th down.
Dylan Connor, the linebacker, was shaken up on that play. Yeah, an interesting decision by Pat Narduzzi as Ohio makes a big stop on 4th down. They've got great field position when we come back. Panthers giving Ohio great field position. Do you think he's second guessing himself, John, declining that last penalty?
Well, I know one thing, he's hot right now because he challenged his team at halftime to be better, and they've come out and you can't move the chains. And I know offensive coordinator Mark Whipple has to be frustrated, but my thinking is Ohio has only had one big drive of 7 plays and 69 yards. They get a field goal. You give them half the field now to get right back into the football game, and you put undue stress on your defense.
So instead of taking the penalty and being 3rd and 6, they declined it. It was 4th and 1. They're stopped. Ohio takes over. Best field position of the day for the Bobcats. Rourke wants to run on 1st down. That was a designed quarterback run, it appeared. And he has not been able to find a lot of real estate when it comes to the ground game, and he is dropped by Kylan Johnson. That is the 6th tackle for loss for this Panthers defense today.
Well, he flashed in week 1, and he's definitely doing the same thing here at home against the Bobcats on defense for the Panthers. He's coachable, he's smart, he's athletic. He finds the football, most importantly.
2nd down at 14. This Ohio offense desperately needs something to go their way. Rourke sliding up. He will run. He'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard more as we go down to Doc Punch.
Yeah, you saw the Rourke run there a minute ago. At halftime, I talked to Tim Albin, the offensive coordinator for Ohio, coming out of the locker room, and he said, you know, just like Frank Soley said, we can't be one-dimensional. But Tim said, I'd like to be able to run the football. If we get some field position, which they have now, maybe we can run the football a little bit and have a shot to open our pass game up. But on 3rd and long, I doubt they can tuck it and run.
Again, they lost a 1,000-yard rusher in A.J. Ouellette, their top 2 receivers from last year, including Poppy White. It's a little bit different looking offense for Tim Albin this year. 3rd down and 9. 2 receivers to the wide side of the field. Rourke is going to be sacked again. At Pitt front, dialing up the pressure, and Kylan Johnson is having himself a game. That is the 4th sack for the Panthers.
Kylan was shot out of a cannon on this 3rd down blitz. He's over the football. He's going to skate around to the left side, and right tackle Grimes never picks him out. He ran right by him to the quarterback, Nathan Rourke, for a sack. That's just great response on a sudden change for the Panther defense.
Transferred from Florida here to Pittsburgh. Was a great high school player, dual threat quarterback in Dallas at Skyline High School. And he has been their most consistent linebacker so far here in the first 2 weeks. French plays it on the hop. Given ground to get ground, and he'll get back to the 20. That's where he's pushed out of bounds. With 9:09 to go here in the 3rd. Well, coming up next, week 2 continues with South Florida and Georgia Tech here on the ACC network. Then Louisiana Monroe squaring off against Florida State and Tallahassee. The Seminoles trying to come back after a poor week 1. And at 8 tonight, it's going to be good. Miami, North Carolina. It's our ACC network primetime matchup presented by Geico. Mac Brown, Manny Diaz. It was 6 years ago tomorrow that Mac fired Manny at Texas as his defensive coordinator when the Horns gave up 550 yards rushing to BYU. The very next day, Mac had to axe him.
I guess we'll get that handshake on camera about an hour before the game.
It's funny how small the coaching industry is, isn't it?
That's right.
Malik Carter on a short run, a couple of yards. A couple of results last night in the ACC. Virginia now 2-0 after taking care of William and Mary. Wake Forest is 2-0, a 20-point win over Rice.
How about Maryland all over Syracuse?
Dino Babers expected to have a pretty good team again this year.
That's right.
Pickett rolling out. 2nd down and 8, and that is a catch for Will Gregg. One of the 6 grad transfers on the roster. He came to Pitt from Arkansas. That's an 11-yard pickup.
You know, for Pitt today, we talk about the explosive guys on the outside. That's basically the outside guys. But the inside guys, the tight ends, have done a really good job catching the football. Will Gregg there, ball behind and high. He's able to turn his body slightly to get that pass and secure it after the big hit.
Pickett to throw again. Great catch by Trey Tipton. He was draped in the secondary, but managed to come away with a 20-yard reception.
Can you cover it any better than Marlon Brooks did there on Trey Tipton? Terrific location of the football on the back shoulder throw, and then let your athlete who sees the football coming react and get that 1 foot inbounds.
Another pass and another pretty catch. This time it's Taysir Mack. Boy, Pickett is really finding a rhythm with his receivers. That's a gain of 21.
When the receivers are having a day like today, just get it close. These guys are catching everything. Tipton tiptoes the sideline, and then a big catch by Mack over the middle.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch. The previous play is under review.
I'm going to make sure if the catch was indeed complete. The transfer from Indiana, Taysir Mack. Trey Tipton, the catch on the play before. What do you think, John? Did he catch it?
Take another look. It looks like the ball comes loose, but he cradles it. I'm not so sure it hits the ground. I don't know if it's a clean catch. There the ball gets a little bit loose, but it looks like the forearm's underneath.
Yeah.
I think that's a catch.
The receivers have played much better today for Pittsburgh. Last week in the game against Virginia, there were some key drops. You know, Pickett's numbers at the end of the game didn't look as good as they could have looked because his receivers didn't help him out. I think they're doing a better job today.
Well, they are, and he's doing a better job. And it all starts, you know, with the offensive line in the passing game. If you have a decent enough pocket where you feel like you have some throwing lanes, you can move your feet to find your receivers, you can have big plays down the field. And if this catch stays a catch, which it should, in my opinion, Pickett has come back from a subpar
After review,
performance.
the ruling on the field stands as called. First down.
A subpar performance for him last week against Virginia with the 2 picks and missing guys, and even though the drops were there, he's now 22 of 29 for 290 and a touchdown, and he hasn't turned it over, right. You know, which is the big key for the Panthers. Closing in on his career high at 316.
This drive started at the Pittsburgh 22. Moving it well. Now at the 23 of Ohio. Pickett. And they were going to try to blow the play dead before Pickett took that hit. But the bodies were already in motion. Another penalty flag.
False start. Offense. Number 70. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the second procedure penalty on Ulizio, the right tackle.
Yeah, that'll get you a personal meeting with Coach Pat Narduzzi, I would think. Or, first of all, you got to get past the offensive coordinator, Mark Whipple, whose skin's turning a little bit red, and I understand why.
Longtime college and NFL coach. First year as the offensive coordinator at Pitt. Won a 1AA national title at UMass. Won a Super Bowl as a quarterback's coach with Ben Roethlisberger here in Pittsburgh.
19.
And Carter is hit by Jared Dorsa. It's a loss on the play. Mark Whipple spent some time with the Eagles, the Browns. In the last 5 years, he was back at UMass. He's happy to be back in college football.
You know, it's fun to talk with a guy that has so much knowledge about pass offense, and how he can share it with these young men is just a treat for young Panther players.
He calls a passing play on 2nd and 17. Tipton, the receiver, he made that catch. Along the sideline, got the reception right around the 15-yard line. That's a gain of 15 and makes it 3rd and manageable.
That was very close if this stands. I mean, that ball's outside. It looks like he's painting the green and white. I'm not so sure about
The ruling
that
on the field
catch.
is a completed catch. The previous play is under review.
I think I see a little bit of white coming down with that right foot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think his foot is out of bounds. Right there, the
Yeah.
right foot.
I think he slides it back inbounds, but initially it touches out of bounds when he has control of the football.
The last one went Pitt's way. This review, I'm pretty sure, is going to be overturned. Trey Tipton is a receiver who has the potential to make big plays. Needs to stay healthy this year for the Panthers. He has had some bad luck in that regard. 3 season-ending injuries since 2015.
What, Clay? I think it's a knee, it's a collapsed lung, it's a bunch of things that have really kept him off the football field. But now that he's back on, I know he had a nice touchdown last week against Virginia in the red zone, and he had some spectacular catches so far today.
Let's go down to Doc.
Yeah, we're talking about a collapsed lung and 2 knee injuries, 15, 16, and 17 into his season, so you love seeing him having a great year. He's also a candidate for the Werfel Trophy because when he was injured, he realized how much anxiety and depression athletes battle when you're hurt and you can't play. So the Love Foundation he founded, Living Out Victoriously Every Day, is a support group that actually helps athletes who are battling injury and depression.
After review, the receiver's right foot was out of bounds when he got control of the ball. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass, 3rd down.
Jerry's report just speaks to Trey Tipton and his character, the senior from Apollo, Pennsylvania.
Well, anytime you can mention your name in conjunction with the Werfel Trophy and the award, it speaks volumes for what you're doing off the field. And I know Trey Tipton, it's been a long road back for him, but I know he's glad to be back and putting on a uniform and contributing offensively.
So the call on the field overturned. It'll bring up 3rd down and 17 from the 30-yard line. Under 7 minutes to go here in the quarter. Malik Carter stays in the game in the backfield as Pickett goes under center. They'll toss it to Carter. Carter cuts it up, finds a blocker. And then is stood up by Jaron Hampton. And driven out. It'll be 4th down, and this will be a long field goal attempt.
I think Carter's still down, or may have hit his head on the back, on the turf there.
And Malik Carter, sophomore from West Palm Beach, kind of burst onto the scene last year. No one really knew about this guy until that week against Duke, where he had 137 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And he did hit his head hard.
Yeah, I think
on that far sideline.
that whiplash effect may have got him on that far sideline. That was a tough tackle by Hampton and company right in front of the Ohio bench.
They think he can be a weapon.
With his speed and athleticism and the way he can jump cut in and out of holes, yeah, he can definitely add to this offense.
Alex Cressman with a make of 27 and a miss of 45. Again, Cressman has a career long of 56. He has a big leg. He hasn't had a great day today with 1 miss. He had a miss last week. This will be a 41-yard attempt for Cressman.
I'd be interested to see the miss he had earlier today wasn't close. So I see how Alex responds here with a 41-yard try.
Cal Adamitis to snap it. Kirk Christodoulou to hold it. That one is true. Tucked it inside that right upright. Second make for Cressman. 3 more for Pitt. It's 20-3 here in the 3rd. Clay Matvick, former Pitt quarterback John Kajemi, and Dr. Jerry Punch back here at Heinz Field, where it's now 20-3 Pittsburgh on top of Ohio. The Huddle, the signature football show on the ACC network, hosted by Jack Collinsworth, Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, and Coach Mark Richt. preview the weekend slate of games, keep you updated on all things ACC football. It'll come your way next Saturday morning at 11 a.m. right here on the ACC Network. You know, we had an early start today, 11 a.m. on a beautiful Saturday week, too. Kind of like these early starts.
I love them, too.
And we love showing these highlights from the vault. Let's go back a ways, a long, long ways to the early 80s. John Congemi and his career at Pitt. It was fascinating.
We had the cutoff jerseys. That's when you know it's old. Do-it-all McCall catching one down there.
4 years as the starting quarterback for the Panthers. The Fiesta Bowl MVP in 1984. Even though you didn't win that game. That's the amazing thing. You were so good, even though your team didn't win, they gave you the MVP.
I was so disappointed. We felt like we'd won the game, and then Mike Tomczak had other ideas. He threw a deep pass down the sideline, and they scored with, I think Ohio State scored with about 40 seconds left to go in the game. We came all the way down, looked like we were going to get in about the 20-yard line. I decided, really bonehead play by me, I decided I'm going to try to run for a first down and kind of mess my ankle up, chipped a bone in my ankle, and we end up, running out of time at the end of the game. But yeah, it was one of those games that were really, I still have vivid memories, and watching those highlights brings it back really quickly.
Rourke to the outside and caught at the 30-yard line. You put up some big numbers right after Dan Marino put up big numbers here at Pitt, and it was a fun offense to watch back in those days.
It was a lot of fun. We had so many good players. I mean, just think of the offensive line that played within that era with Dan Marino, and then to me, you had Jimbo Covert, you had Mark May, you had Russ Grimm, you had Bill Freilich, you had a guy named Mark Stepnowski. You had so many guys. On the other side, Chris Dolman and Bill Moss, and you had so many great players that played for the Panthers in that era.
3rd down and 3. Ohio's going to get the first down and a lot more. Rourke is complete to Isaiah Cox, who gets into Pitt territory down to the 41-yard line, a gain of 27.
That's a great response by Nathan Rourke. Good protection in the pocket, and he steps in and fires one right in front of Hamlin, the free safety. Isaiah Cox turns it upfield, and now the Bobcats have the football in Panther territory.
Only the 4th third down conversion for Rourke and the Ohio offense today. Wants to throw it again, and he's got time to do it. Man wide open. O'Shawn Allison. And a touchdown saving tackle made at the 6-yard line.
Terrific call by offensive coordinator Tim Albin. You have a big play, you come back with a little misdirection, you fake it to O'Shawn Allison, but he's going to sneak out the short side on that wheel route and runs right by every Panther defender. Shoestring tackle, saves a touchdown, but that's a great play call by Albin, the offensive coordinator.
Number 32, Dennis, keeping him out of the end zone. 34-yard play. Injury timeout. Back in a moment. Was able to run off the field for Ohio. He had the catch. 34-yard play puts Ohio on the doorstep here. First down and goal to go.
Great response. 2 back-to-back plays in terms of being able to get some chunk yards through the air. And now Ohio in the red zone. They can make this a football game. They punch it in the end zone here.
Ohio was great in the red zone last week, 5 for 5 against Rhode Island with 3 touchdowns. Touchdown would get him back in this game, but still plenty of time to go. This is Demontre Tuggle, touchdown, Bobcats. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the year.
Ohio fans have reason to celebrate. That was an efficient drive led by their quarterback in his right arm, but finished off with this power running game. There's a lot of blue jerseys going backwards. Credit that offensive line for Ohio up front, getting that running back Tuggle into the end zone. 5 plays, 75 yards.
Zervos with the extra point. And just like that, it's a 10-point difference. 4:04 to go here at Heinz Field in the 3rd quarter. Don't forget, we've got 3 more games coming your way here on the ACC Network. We'll go to Atlanta. We'll go to Tallahassee. And we'll go to Chapel Hill with Mack versus Manning. They used to work together in Austin, Texas. Now they're going to be on opposite sidelines tonight.
I think that's going to be a fun matchup. You have 2 young quarterbacks in Jaron Williams for the Canes and quarterback Sam Howell for North Carolina. And you mentioned the relationship between both head coaches. Once working for head coach Mack Brown at Texas, now Manny Diaz takes over in Miami.
How about Mack's win over South Carolina?
That was spectacular.
Impressive debut. Another second chance there.
Yeah, 24-20. He gets those guys, believing in themselves. You talked to Mack before the season. It was, we're going to be okay. Well, okay out of the gate was pretty good against the Gamecocks.
All right, so Ohio's got some life now as they score their first touchdown of the day. I'm going to bring it out. This is Taysir Mack on the return. He'll be stopped short of the 20-yard line. And so we'll see what Pittsburgh does for a response with 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
I give some life to this Ohio defense. You see your offense go out and get back into the football game. It puts the pressure back now on Kenny Pickett and that offense. You've had great plays from Jared Dorsa and the safeties of Hagan and Hampton coming up with big plays from the secondary. How can you respond if you're the Panthers now? You have to be able to get that initial first down to keep the offense on the field.
30 pass attempts, 290 yards through the area as a touchdown pass. He'll hand off to Davis here. A.J. Davis, good run on first down. He has the 35, the 40, finally brought down at the 42 by Hampton. Boy, A.J. Davis is powerful.
The Bobcats decide to blitz on first down, and what does Pitt do? They run right where the blitz came from. A.J. Davis breaks a couple of arm tackles, 3 tackles on the way to a huge gain.
Well, we're going to get another false start.
False start, offense, number 86. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Tight end Nakia Griffin-Stewart. So that was the 6th 20-yard play, or play of 20 yards or more. We didn't see a lot of explosive plays in the first quarter or two from Pitt. They're starting to come again.
Well, they are, but they have to get out of their own way with the penalties before the ball snap. Breaks your momentum.
Yeah, a lot of pre-snap penalties. A.J. Davis again. And he'll get it to the 45-yard line.
Those are the subtle moves I think offensive coordinator Mark Whipple is looking from the running backs. At some point, these Pitt running backs have to make defenders miss in open space in the second level, and that's what's going to take the Pitt running game to the next level.
Pickett goes to Griffin-Stewart, and the tight end tumbles ahead for a first down into Ohio territory. Going back to the running backs, John, we have seen A.J. Davis, we've seen Todd Sibley, Malik Carter, and Vincent Davis, the freshman. I think A.J. Davis has been the best looking running back so far today.
I think he has the most understanding of what the offense is and what he's trying to get out of his running game.
Pickett is going to run and wisely slides down at the 40-yard line, and he is being encouraged to do more of that. Take fewer body blows when, he likes contact. It's pretty apparent, but, it's not always the wise decision to lower your shoulder.
Exactly. He's a competitor as Pitt ends up going Wildcat here on second down.
Davis trying to run it ahead and right into the teeth of that Ohio front. Arp and Baker are waiting for him. So now third down.
I think, Kenny, you're right. He has to decide when I've got enough yards to get down, because it's a long season and there's a little bit of a drop off when and no knock on the guys behind him, but he's the guy that the Panthers want to have playing the position of quarterback. Why? Because he can get the offense communicated to everyone. He can convert on third down. He's 6 of 8 today on third down for 115 yards and a touchdown. Another opportunity right here.
They need the 34-yard line. Pickett is going to go deeper than that. Looking for French, incomplete. Pass a little tall, and Marlon Brooks Did a pretty good job staying with French. So they're at the 40-yard line. It's 4th and about 6 yards to go. What do you do here? Do you punt or do you attempt a really long field goal with Kessman, who has the capability to hit long field goals?
I think the offense is going to stay out on the football field here. I don't think you chance something in the special teams game. You may go out now and try to use cadence on 4th down and see if you get Ohio to jump and then bring your punting team back out with 5 yards to spare. But this offense is a little quick kick.
A little pooch punt. And Kenny Pickett, not bad. I would say that gets an A. Kenny Pickett puts it out at the 14-yard line.
Good job. See, quarterbacks can do just about everything, right?
Did you do that?
Yes,
when you were
I did.
Here?
I did.
A lot?
No. No, I think I did it once.
How'd you do? That good?
No, not that good. I wasn't that good. Good job by Kenny Pickett getting the ball foot to leather, and the ball gets down to the 15-yard line with no chance of return.
You know who would have been good at that and was good at that?
Who?
Tom Tupa.
Yes.
Yeah, the former punter
Absolutely.
and quarterback. His son Tyler plays for Ohio. He's a wide receiver. In fact, had a touchdown last week, but the wide receiver core is missing him today. Didn't make the trip. He's nicked up. And Nathan Rourke, playing sick, goes down. Another sack. It's Jalen Twyman, number 97. He's been very active in the backfield today.
Defensive coordinator Randy Bates for the Panthers told us people have to step up with Camp out and Weaver out. Who's going to be the next guy? And today it's been Twyman. Alexander Jones. Twyman on the sack right there on 1st down. He's been relentless for the Panthers up front today.
Again, wearing Aaron Donald's old college number. They swing it out. Jerome Buckner dropped the football, and it's recovered by the Bobcats. Cam Odom was there to bail out Jerome Buckner, who's had a couple of gaffes today. A drop touchdown catch, and he left that one on the turf.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous for the Ohio offense. You're trying to just get the ball out to your playmaker, and then good pursuit by Patrick Jones from the backside. Ball on the ground, and luckily for the Bobcats, they retained possession.
So Rourke facing another 3rd down and long. Third down will happen in the 4th quarter.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
Well, Ohio got a touchdown on the board in the 3rd. We got a 10-point difference going into the final 15 minutes here at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Nathan Rourke from Oakville, Ontario, dual threat quarterback, responsible for 81 career touchdowns. Tyler Tettleton holds the Ohio record with 83, but Rourke, no factor in the Ohio run game today, and that's because he is still feeling under the weather. It was a game-time decision, trying to gut it out. His team backed up, 3rd down and long. First play of the quarter. Rourke is going to gun it over the middle. It's deflected, intended for Lurman, the tight end, but batted away by Dane Jackson, the excellent senior captain.
Awareness coming from the corner spot. He's able to come in, and there's that NFL talent, that potential that you have in Dane Jackson. Pat Narduzzi says of Jackson, he's as good a cornerback as I've ever had, and that's saying a lot.
He told you and I need to be a leader. I need to lead by example. I also need to lead with my voice. I'm kind of a quiet guy by nature. Well, that was a huge play when the defense needed him most. This is the 8th punt for Farkas today from his end zone. French never thought about a fair catch. Those are dirty words to him. And he gets to the 44 as we go down to Doc.
You're talking about Nathan Rourke, who has rushed for more touchdowns than any other quarterback in FBS the last 2 years. So at halftime, coming out of the locker room, I asked the offensive coordinator, Tim Albin, I said, hey, are you not letting him run his normal option attack where he keeps the ball and runs it because he's not feeling well, because he's sick? and Tim just stopped and looked at me and said, no comment. Then he smiled and walked away. So I get the idea that this kid's he's just struggling to be on the field. Frank Soley said when asked about Rourke at halftime, he said he is one tough kid. He's hanging in there.
You can tell, Doc, that he's uncomfortable playing the position. He's getting everything he can out of the passing game, and I think that's the smart decision by Tim Albin and head coach Frank Zolich to take him out of the running attack. You've got a long season to play with him at quarterback.
Rourke already over 300 yards passing, goes to the air again. It's incomplete to French. And Pickett will pick himself up off the grass. 316 yards passing is the career high for Pickett. He will likely eclipse that here today. Going back to Rourke, though, John, how many times did you play sick during your career?
Only a couple of times, and it affects you. It affects your stamina. It affects your concentration. You have to fight through it, and it's something that I can see Nathan really trying to, handle and get through that struggle. But it's a mighty uphill climb.
French is so elusive, so hard to tackle. Finally, Ohio gets to him and brings him down, but not before he crosses the midfield stripe. Anytime Maurice French touches the ball, a touchdown can happen.
And that's the job on the outside for Kenny Pickett. Just get it into the hands of these playmakers and let them do it with some space. The quicker you get it to guys like Tipton and French on the outside or Mack, they can make plays down the field.
Yeah, that big 74-yard touchdown reception in the first half. That should have been caught by Mack, incomplete. Taysir Mack had a drop last week. Javon Hagan, number 7. Third-year captain for the Bobcats, 2-time All-Conference. They'll break that up. So it's a 4th and 2, and here comes the punting unit for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think for the Panthers there at that point, you'd like to get the running game going because that's going to get the clock going.
Yeah.
This is a football game. It's 20-10. You're a possession or a turnover or a fluke play away from really having to have some more success on offense throwing it. You might as well take 2 or 3 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, instead they take about a minute off. As Chris Dedulu is going to flip the field. A very good punt from the sophomore from Australia. 40-yard kick. 13:44 to go. Ohio's hanging around in this one. All right, Jack, thanks. A little surprise there by the way Syracuse is playing today.
Big surprise. Maryland putting 21 points up in the first and second quarter.
200 yards total offense for Ohio. Their quarterback is sick, but they're still in this game. Down 10. Hit as he throws. Rourke pops it up in the air. Oh, that should have been caught. And it should have been a Pitt touchdown, but 2 defenders fought for it. Cam Bright and Dane Jackson battled for what should have been an interception, and nobody gets it.
This is unfortunate for the Panthers. I got it, you got it, nobody's got it. That's a walk into the end zone for an easy Panther defensive touchdown. Those, how you circle the drop earlier in the game by Ohio in the end zone with Buckner. You circle that one if the Bobcats can put a drive together now.
Big break for the Bobcats, second down and 10. They bring 5, but the play is going to be blown dead. We might have another false start. We've seen a lot of these today.
False start offense, number 60. Half the distance to the goal penalty, second down.
The Pitt defense last week, they struggled with the mobile quarterback Bryce Perkins. Today, faring a lot better. Of course, Rourke, who is a very good dual threat,
that's right,
is not feeling good.
Yeah, he's not feeling his legs in the running game, and that's the biggest part of the Ohio offense that's missing this afternoon in Pittsburgh.
They're going to run it on 2nd and 14 with Allison, who's obviously feeling better. He was shaken up earlier in this half. Devin Danielson makes the tackle. All right, here's the play. If this is baseball, you say the outfielder calls off the shortstop on a play in short left. But whose fault is this?
Well, if you're the guy that dropped it. I can tell you that. That's whose fault it is. You have to be able to find a way to come up with that interception and walk into the end zone. And I know Chase is kind of getting his second start of his career, but you walk into the end zone with that one.
Under 13 minutes to go. Big third down and 13. Pitt bringing the pressure. Rourke hit, and he is dropped. Did he get out of the end zone? Yes, he did.
It's that man again, Jalen Twyman. The defensive tackle that keeps on giving for the Panthers. He has been relentless. Top of the screen, little swim move, pressure all around the pocket, and a good job by Patrick Jones actually pushing him to Twyman to get the sack.
Rourke was able to get the ball across the plane and get out of the end zone to avoid the safety. And so now another punt, number 9 on the day for Farkas. French is going to field this line drive kick. A lot of room to operate. French is going to take it to the wide side of the field. There he goes, inside the 20. And he's going to be collared at the 10-yard line, but there are 4 penalty flags down inside the 10.
During the kick, holding number 9 receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. Correction, from the end of the kick will be first down Pitt.
Still great field position for Pittsburgh. But let's go back to Jalen Twyman, the sophomore from Washington, D.C. He has been so effective getting to the passer today.
Well, he has. And credit Patrick Jones and the rest of that defensive front. They really pushed that sack to Jalen Twyman. And Rourke was able to get out of the end zone to the 1-yard line. But it's Twyman. He's been relentless in the run game, and he's done a nice job getting to the quarterback.
Let's go down to Dr. Punch.
Yeah, Jalen Twyman grew up in Washington, D.C., as you said, in the 7th Ward, which is one of the toughest parts of Washington. When he was 9 years old, he would play in a concrete parking lot, a game called throwback tackle, where you throw the ball over your head, 10 or 12 guys catch it, and then it's a free-for-all scramble, no holes barred, to try to tackle whoever has the ball. You learn to be tough very, very quickly, and the coaches say this is the toughest young man as a sophomore they've seen come here in quite a while.
He has been outstanding today as Vincent Davis takes the handoff, and he's got a first down run. Touchdown in the first half for the freshman. Continuing to factor in the Pittsburgh backfield here in the second half as we've got a man down for Pitt. It's Rashad Wheeler, the fullback. As they check on him, we step aside. To go, Pitt is down 2 backs now. Rashad Wheeler, the fullback, didn't put any pressure on his left foot when he was being helped off the field. And Malik Carter, he hasn't returned since getting knocked around that far sideline here earlier in the half. He went to the locker room, so that's a running back and a fullback who are out right now for Pitt, and they may be trying to milk the clock here with the running game the last several minutes.
Yeah, they may have to rely more on A.J. Davis and Vincent Davis, who have been Pitt's 2 best backs today, being able to run the football in between the tackles, and when they've had some daylight outside the numbers, they've been effective as well.
96 rushing yards for Pitt. They had 78 last week in the game against Virginia. As they go to Vincent Davis. And on first down, he'll get a couple. But that's the offense now under Mark Whipple. It's going to be a heavy passing scheme.
And I don't think Pitt possesses a running back right now that can carry the load to be a 1,000-yard rusher. I think you have to spread the wealth in the backfield, but put the pressure on Pickett to distribute outside to the playmakers that play wide receiver. And as the tight end keeps emerging, I think the Pitt offense will get better.
Will Gregg goes in motion. We'll hand it off again to Vincent Davis. A.J. Davis, the junior running back, 10 carries, 64 yards. He has led the way in the Pitt run game. Vincent, 4 carries, 12 yards and a touchdown. They did that to confuse us. You know that.
Yeah.
AJ is 21. Vincent is 22. Both named Davis.
Well, it doesn't take much for me. I know it's harder for you when they confuse you.
Well, I'm easily confused.
Well, so am I. But Davis is Davis, and they got to get it done in the running game with one of them.
3rd down and 7. Pickett to throw. He'll dump it off to his tight end. And they're going to be short of the 1st down. It's Griffin Stewart. Stopped by Connor.
I think they may keep the offense out here.
One thing we know for sure, this drive has taken off more time than the last drive.
It has.
And that's a positive.
And there's a big discussion on the sidelines of what they want to do and how they want to do it with their head coach, Pat Narduzzi.
Kenny Pickett did a pooch punt on 4th down on their last possession. They've got all their timeouts remaining. I think they're going to spend one here. And that is indeed the case.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Instead, they decide they're going to take the penalty to give themselves a little more room to
punt. Which means they're going to punt the football. Exactly. So 9:40 left in the football game. You'd love to be able to have the wherewithal to keep your offense on the field.
Pat Narduzzi comes out of the Mark D'Antonio coaching tree. He always liked the 4th quarter fake punts. Oh, see what Narduzzi does here. This will be punt number 5, if indeed it is a punt for Chris Dedulu, and it is. Fair catch called for. This is Buckner. And another long field for Ohio as Chris Dedulu, the Australian, has done a nice job when called upon. 9:34 to go. Lead is still 10 for Pitt. Lead for Pitt. Game's getting late here for Ohio. Well, tonight, all ACC will have scores, highlights, breakdowns, and post-game interviews from the day and night on the gridiron. Nobody covers the ACC like we do. 11 Eastern, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. This is Ohio and Pitt, the first of 4 today on the ACC Network, which still has the new car sent. Day 16 of the new network. We're happy to have you along. There's DeMontre Tuggle on 1st down. And the defense for Pitt is down a couple of big key linemen. Rashad Weaver got hurt in camp. He's on the sideline today. He's got the headset on. He's the defensive end. And back last week, junior defensive tackle Keyshawn Camp got hurt. Both done for the year. Those are 2 big losses from this Pitt defense.
And that's why it's been so important that Twyman and Jones and Alexander have played so well up front for the Panthers.
2nd down and 2. And that's going to be close to a 1st down for Tuggle as we go down to Dr. Punch.
Yeah, a couple of more injury updates for Pittsburgh. We saw earlier in this half, Malik Carter, the wide receiver, hit his head on the turf, got up a little wobbly. He's been taken in and evaluated. He is done for the day. And a few minutes ago, Rasheed Wheeler, the fullback, went off with a left ankle. They have now taken him in to be x-rayed. We'll update you when we can.
Okay, thanks, Doc. So this seems like the last best chance for Ohio.
You want to be able to get points out of this drive to make it a 1-score game.
Offense has struggled throughout the day. This pass is going to land incomplete, but they may be calling pass interference on Damari Mathis, who has played an excellent game in their secondary for Pittsburgh. Cam Odom was
pass
held
interference. Defense number 21. Automatic 1st down.
Yep, that's the call.
You're going to get those types of plays from Mathis and Pinnock and Jackson. As good as they are, they like contact and they like to grab. And the way that Pat Narduzzi's defenses have been, you're going to be pressing a lot. You're going to be running with receivers. Yeah. And he'll take that. You know, it's not going to be a big portion of it, but you're going to get those calls.
Take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
That's the 10th penalty against the Panthers. 75 yards in penalties today. So that moves it up. 1st down and 10 now at the 32-yard line. Tuggle in the backfield behind Rourke. Bobcats have been forced to punt 9 times today. Rourke is running, has been absent because of his illness. And he gets 4 hard-earned yards there.
Well, you can tell it's been limited for sure, and it's been curtailed, and that's the way I think it's been coached today for Nathan Rourke. There's a long season for Ohio, and I know it's only 20-10 here, but you don't want to chance running your quarterback when he's not feeling good. You're asking him to do a lot in the passing game, and he has, but you don't want to expose him on a day like today.
35 total rush yards for the Ohio offense. Second down and 6. Play fake. Quick release. Incomplete. That was a low throw to Cam Odom. They call Nathan Rourke Air Canada. That's because he's from Oakville, Ontario. That's just outside of Toronto.
About 20 minutes south of Toronto, exactly.
Good nickname.
He's a talented quarterback. And unfortunately for the Bobcats, it wasn't a day that he's feeling 100% because I think this game might have been a little bit different.
They need this third down pickup. Play clock down to 5. On the slant, complete. Shane Hooks dropped it. He had it and dropped it.
There have been a couple of big drops by Ohio receivers early in the game. Buckner dropped a sure touchdown, and here on a third down conversion attempt, right in the number, hit him Hooks right on the number 5, and you've got to be able to come down with the football. Again, tough coverage by Mathis, pulling one of the arms of Hooks away from the football.
Yeah, Mathis, a great job stripping that ball. Maurice French, he has been busy in the return game today, backpedaling inside the 10, muffed it again. Able to get it back. Hurdles out of a tackle. Man, he is interesting to watch. Makes everything exciting. 56-yard punt for Farkas, and Pitt will have it back with 7:05 to go.
It's only me, Clay, but at some point you have to either call a fair catch or get away from the football when it gets even close to the 10-yard line in a 20-10 game with 7:05 left to go in the fourth quarter.
I don't think he's called a fair catch today.
And
one time.
Maybe one time, yeah. And that has to happen. At some point, we know how explosive you can be, and I'm sure that's the discussion that's happening on the sidelines right now.
Well, he's a senior. You'd think that he should understand this already, but he is that kind of a player. As A.J. Davis dives over the 10-yard line, that's a pickup of 4. Well, if you're expecting South Florida and Georgia Tech, that's going to start on ESPN News. We're going to get you to Atlanta as soon as we're done here in Pittsburgh. We're kicking at 2:05, about 5 minutes from right now here on the ACC Network. And again, we will have it for you here on ACC Network when we're finished. First of 4 games today on the network. And that big one tonight, John, between Miami and North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch quarterback Jaron Williams for the Hurricanes. You know, he played pretty well, but he took 10 sacks against the Gators up in Orlando. And you want to see how he responds, how he bounces back from that performance. And on the other side, Sam Howell, 245 yards and 2 touchdowns, both of those touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So you've got 2 young quarterbacks trying to lead their teams to victory tonight.
Come your way to 8 Eastern tonight. Part of a quadruple header here on the network. Going to send Will Gregg in motion. A.J. Davis in the backfield. On third down and 3. Pickett dumps it off to Gregg. Gregg out of a tackle. Big first down for the Panthers. They will keep this drive alive.
The catalyst on the Pitt offense will be outside with the flashy receivers. The meat and potatoes guys, that's going to be tight ends, fullbacks, offensive line. And Will Gregg does an excellent job of keeping those chains going, keeping the clock going, more importantly.
Came to Pitt from Arkansas, one of the 6 grad transfers on the roster. And Kenny Pickett now with a career high in passing yards, 322 now. Trying to go to 9 and 8 all time as Pitt's starting quarterback. Back to the ground. Working the clock. Good gain for A.J. Davis. He'll add to his total. Gets it to the 40. Ogun Seymour brings him down, but that's a pickup of 18 yards for Davis.
Beautiful vision and a cutback by A.J. Davis, understanding where his blockers are initially on the offensive line and then at the perimeter with the tight ends and wide receivers getting out in front. That caps off a solid performance for A.J.
Almost 7 yards per carry today for A.J. Davis. Now Pitt taking their time and keeping it on the ground. And this is Vincent Davis. It's going to be about 9 yards on first down. Elsewhere in the ACC, again, Georgia Tech, South Florida coming your way. 2:05 Eastern is when they kick. We'll have it for you here as soon as we're done. Richmond Boston College later today on ACC Network Extra. Florida State, they've got to bounce back after a tough week one. And again, 8 Eastern tonight for Miami, North Carolina.
How about the Tigers of Clemson hosting Texas A&M? That should be a real good football game.
And then Clemson will go back into ACC play in the game against Syracuse next week. That's another first down for Pittsburgh, and the clock continues to churn.
Nice job by the freshman Vincent Davis, avoiding contact behind the line of scrimmage. That little pirouette and gets the chains moving, and most importantly, the clock keeps ticking down at 3:33 and counting.
We haven't had any turnovers in the game for either side. That's going to be a positive for both teams. Pickett, of course, threw those 2 interceptions last week. He has been clean today. Back to Vincent Davis. What a good run on first down. Well, Pittsburgh will be at Penn State next week, the 100th meeting and the last of a 4-game series between the two schools. You look at the non-conference schedule, though, for the Panthers, it's tough. Of course, Ohio here today at Penn State, still have to play UCF. And the FPI has Pitt favored in only 3 games after today, and one of those is FCS Delaware.
That's right. You know, you get to Georgia Tech and Boston College, but North Carolina looks to improve. Virginia Tech at that point in the season will be probably a better team than they are right now. UCF put a pretty good beating on the Panthers last season. So the back-to-back games on the road against Penn State and then home against the Central Florida will be interesting.
Central Florida gave Pitt problems last year. As Davis gets it to the 40-yard line, 3rd down and a yard. Ohio has all of its timeouts remaining, but Frank Solich isn't calling them yet.
No, and I think, you know, for Ohio, you take a peek. Right now, this team, if they get a stop here, you're probably going to use one. But this is a better team than what we saw today.
No question.
No question on offense. They're more dynamic. And this defense, I think, gave it their best effort. But up front, it just started the wear and tear of the Pitt offensive line. It really taken over.
Give to Vincent Davis. That's a first down. Inside the 30. And the Panthers will be able to burn more clock. The 130th year of Pitt football this season, in the 150th year of college football. This is always a hard-nosed, blue-collar, tough program. And, you know, there are going to be some transitional pains this year as they continue to work through the offensive struggles as Mark Whipple installs this offense. But this is a step in the right direction today.
It absolutely is, and I think it's a strong step for Kenny Pickett. You know, coming back after a tough loss in conference, Mark Whipple getting his offense another week for guys to watch it on film, to make corrections until they, you know, go to Happy Valley next week, and then they have Central Florida at home. You're going to have to be better in those 2 games than you were in the last 2 games. And I think Mark Whipple got to use Kenny Pickett in different ways today, getting the football out to the playmakers and watching those guys grow as well on the outside.
Still no timeouts being called by Ohio. It's almost like they're waving the white flag here in the final seconds of this game in week 2. And another thing about Pitt football, very glad they brought this look back. These uniforms are outstanding.
Yeah, you bring the script back, that's who you are if you're a Panther.
Vincent Davis again. It'll be 3rd down. 20 seconds to go. That is going to do it. First win of 2019 for Pat Narduzzi's Panthers. It wasn't always pretty, but certainly a W is appreciated by these fans. His coaching staff going to be a little happier this week.
Much happier because the execution was better, and anytime you win, you have a chance to celebrate, and you can still correct what you need to correct.
That's going to do it from Heinz Field here in Pittsburgh. 20-10 the final for John Congemi and Dr. Jerry Punch. I'm Clay Matvick. Don't forget Miami, North Carolina tonight, but coming up next, USF and Georgia Tech.